have a Norwalk-centric question about what's the status of HUD with Washington Village? There was some question the deadline would not be met for the $30 million grant, and it's still tied up in the courts, so what can you say?
Yeah, I've been watching it with a little bit of trepidation because rebuilding Washington Village is A, very important, and B, was a lot of political hard work on my part and on the part of the senators and others. And you're more familiar with the issue than I do. There's a group that is claiming that building inside the flood zone should not have received a waiver, and they're litigating that. What I can tell you is I've been watching it very closely from two perspectives. One is I don't want to strong-arm community groups and say you don't have your right to a day in court, but I do feel very strongly that we can't jeopardize that funding. So I've been in touch with HUD to make sure that the funding is not jeopardized on a time frame. Secondly, I've been checking in with and thinking about and working with Mayor Rilling on the Housing Authority. You're probably familiar with the fact that they had their Head Start program suspended, and there's a lot on their plate. They had, and they may have again, the Head Start program, which is not easy to run. That's a challenging thing to do well. They have the rehabilitation of Washington Village, and then they were recently awarded by the state of Connecticut the CAP agency designation. So this is everything from, energy, wintertime heating assistance. So they've got three very big things happening at once, and they obviously stumbled a bit with Head Start. So I'm pretty concerned, put it that way.
Okay. What kind of feedback do you get from HUD?
So it's actually Health and Human Services that oversees the Head Start program. It's not a hard head. So other than concern about the delay, HUD has not been involved in the Head Start thing, and the CAP agency designation is a state of Connecticut thing. So it's not like one person at HUD is saying, gosh, they've got these three things, and they're all big things. The good news is that I don't want to characterize what I think of the Norwalk Housing Authority. I haven't spent enough time with them to know, to form an opinion about whether they can handle these three big things at once. It just creates some anxiety for me. But in the case of Washington Village, of course, you've got this private developer who is practiced and knowledgeable on how to do these things. So we know that they've got a partner who can, setting aside the litigation, at least keep the logistics of the development on track. It's really important that project get done, though. I mean, personally speaking, I don't want to be insensitive to concerns about being in the floodplain. But folks, Washington Village is already in the floodplain. It's not like we're making. Now, obviously, what the closing argument there has to be that if you are going to build there, make sure you build in a way that provides for egress, and that means that new buildings aren't going to be swamped by a 100-year flood or whatever. But